Jai Sri Krishna. Let's start discussion on the important topic, the role of BA in UAT, the post-mortem analysis, which we also call. So, guys, whenever you are going for the interview of the business analyst or the quality analyst, so there is definitely interview will ask you what is a UAT, what is an UAT environment, what is an production environment. So let's start discussion on these important. So what is the role of business analyst in UAT and what is an UAT and why it is an important for the business analyst or the quality analyst to work, and how to answer the interviewer related to the UAT environment. So let's start discussion on these very important topic. So let's first I'll give you the UAT challenges that face, and why the what is an UAT and why it is exist and why it is important. So what is an UAT? The UAT stand for the user acceptance testing. So where we do the testing, manual testing. So it is in the final phase of testing where the end user validate if the software meets their need and the business requirement. So UAT, user acceptance testing, where in the IT project. So once the IT project development get done and the user stories are ready, SIT environment staging done, so that code we will move into the UAT environment, where the all the teams or the business analyst or the quality analyst or the business sponsor or the business the subject matter expert comes and they do the simultaneous testing that the functionality is that working as they are expected. So that testing we call as a UAT testing, and it is and the very important testing, guys. So it's that meet the business objective, or it is cover the all the in scope functionality, or it's the solve the business problem. So that's they discuss, they work actually checking or testing in the UAT environment. Or why does it fail? Why does the UAT testing is fail? So as a BA, as a quality analyst, you should know why the UAT does fail. So lack of clear requirements. If the BA will not able to gather the requirement clearly and understand and document that requirement it clearly, so that's the reason the UAT maybe fails. And poor test case design. If the business analyst or the quality analysts are not able to properly define the test cases or not do the proper testing, so that is one of the reason that the UAT environment, the testing will get fail and inefficient user involvement. If we are not continuously updating the users or not giving proper their training or understand their the requirements, so it's lack of the insufficient user involvement, maybe the UAT testing get fail and communication breakdown between the business and development teams. So these are the that is also the reason we are not properly communicating with the business team and the development team, so the UAT with environment testing will get fail. So the BA unique position, so in that skill or in that requirement, so BA is a unique part and that will fail. These are the capabilities, and BA make sure that while we are doing the UAT testing, so all the requirements for info functionality or the business problem or the challenges that business want to solve, that with that development will get satisfied and will get approved by the project sponsor at the first level. So the BA act as a bridge between the business user and the technical team. They are the subject matter expert on the requirement, making them indispensable for the UAT and work as the user expectation. So that's the challenges faced in the UAT environment. So let's discuss the role of the BA before we start with the UAT. So how the UAT will get started? Before that, you should understand the business analyst role before the UAT. So the business analyst will do the requirement initiation and documentation, and then testing, and the test planning and strategy and the test case creation. So business analyst will define clear and ambiguous business requirement that transfer in the technical requirement, or that business requirement for the business requirement document are transfer into the test case document, or to prepare from the business requirement to the test cases. So ensure the requirement are traceable to user stories and functional, to prepare the requirement traceability matrix and make sure that all the requirements are tracked from the requirement gathering, requirement analysis, design, development, coding, testing, and to up to the UAT environment. So all these requirements, and before start to the UAT workshop, share the clear agenda to all the stakeholder or the all the workshop members that what they are going to test in that UAT environment. So the test plan strategy, collaborate with the testing team or the UAT team or the quality assurance team and create the UAT plan, how to perform that UAT, and define the user acceptance criteria, where the that user story is success, what are the processes to complete that user story. Clearly document all these things and is the requirement, and identify the UAT participants and their roles and responsibilities and work on that accordingly. And the test case creation, translate the requirement into concrete and the test cases and understandable test cases, and transfer the business requirement into the test cases, and write the test cases from end user perspective, so end user can understand and focusing on the business processes. So each the requirement will consider and write down the test cases with the end user perspective, and business analyst will make sure himself he is using the that use software or the functionality, and how, what are the features that functionality should perform. So write down that the test cases and example, not the test the login button, but verify new user can successfully log in the credentials. So it tests each button or each processes. So let's move on the next slide, that the the BA role during the UAT. So while actually doing the UAT, what are the role of BA? So he is the facilitating communications and managing the scope expectations and training and the supports. So facilitating the communication. So trains the defect and clearly issue with the developers and clearly document each the issues and explain that issue, and while doing the UAT, if some functionality is not working, explain that why that functionality is not working, to understand the SQL language, change the databases, act as a first point of contact for the UAT testers, and ensure the feedback and constrain the actionable. If the something is not working, it is a functionally issue or technical issue, understand that thing and facilitate the communication and immediately take action on that, and managing the scope and expectation. So prevent the scope creep during the EVT, validate the bugs and actual bugs and not new features or the requirement, and understand the teams and explain the bugs to the identify is it is an actual bug or make the mistake by the UAT tester. So identify that thing and work accordingly. And training and support, provide the training and guideline to UAT tester on the new systems and how that work, and help them if there any challenges faced by the UAT tester, and be available to answer the questions and resolve the roadbacks of the UAT tester. So let's move on the next slide, that is the post-mortem, why the post-mortems is important for the UAT and why the BA role is involved for them. A post-mortem analysis is a structured review process conducted after a project and significant phases like UAT to identify the success or failure. So UAT test is the test. After UAT, we will move that code in the production environment. So it is an important thing to do the postmortem or to do the basic flow, alternative flow, exceptional flow testing in the UAT environment, or the 360-degree analysis of that the patch is working as we are expected, or all possible scenarios we will do testing in the UAT environment. So that's the importance of the post-mortem for the to do the UAT environment, and the goal to learn from the past and improve the future processes, to understand what are the challenges we are facing in the current, and that we will improve in the future UAT testings. And why focus on UAT? It's obtain the last chance to catch issue before go live. Obviously it's the last chance, the last time we are going to final testing. We also called UAT testing means the final testing or the end testing. Before we are moving that code in the production environment, we will do the testing in the sandbag environment or the UAT environment. And the UAT post-mortem can reveal the critical flows and critical processes. So that's the importance. Let's move on the next slide, that is a post-mortem framework, the 4 L's. So there is a 4 L framework. You need to explain the interviewer while he will ask you what is an UAT environment. So a simple and effective of your analysis. So love, learn, lack and log 4. So love means the what went well, what went wrong, and understand them, what should we continue doing, and love the daily UAT stand-ups and understand the UAT frameworks, and learn what new insights did we gain, what we understand, and learn that involve in BA and test cases creation and significant improvement, test coverage. So learn all these things and like what we are missing, what we are should consider, what points we are not taking. So identify search point and work on that search point, and what could have been better, what course of action we need to take, what are the challenges or impediments we are facing while doing the UAT testing, what are the next UAT testing we have the course scope, what are the prerequisites required for us to to doing the UAT testing. So understand and prepare the document all these things, and log for what does we wish we had, what are the expectation or outcome from that the UAT testing phase, and what are the appreciation for the next project, and what we are considering, log for the dedicated UAT environment and realistic data. So work on that thing. So let's move on the case study so we can understand better this thing. So case study UAT failure analysis. So this is one of the case study I'll prepare for you guys. So UAT failure analysis, a scenario: the UAT phase was extremely by 2 weeks due to high volume of defects, and it will take more time, and we are not able to deploy or do the UAT testing complete within a time, and it extend with the 2 weeks. So analysis using the 4A. So there is love. The UAT tester were highly engaged to doing, and they are interested to work on that, and they will love their work and learn. Defects were mostly due to misunderstanding of key business rules, or the key in scope functionality and out scope functionality, and understand the business objectives. So they need to understand the business rules or the business objective or the business problem which they are going to solve, and the lack the pre-UAT walk through the business users to confirm the system logics and how they are work, and we are not able to properly explain. So that's why they are not able to do the proper UAT testing and log. So better collaboration with the development team earlier in the process, and clarify the requirement and understand their the requirement, and help them to get the better solutions. So the BA role in failure. The BA initial requirements documentation was too high level and did not capture the numerous and the business rules and content detail the requirements, and understandable requirement or non-functional or functional or the technical person can understand that requirement in better way. So let's move on the next slide, that is the BA role in post-mortem. So what are the role of this post-mortem or the UAT analysis of the business analyst? So facilitates the session, gather the data and propose actionable improvement. So facilitate the session. The BA has a requirement expert, and he knows 360 degree of requirements, is best suited for lead the post-mortem decisions and create the document and understandable the sessions, and facilitate the session and help if any challenges faced by the UAT testers. Gather the data, collect the feedback, log defect and UAT matrix, and prepare the requirement traceability matrix, or track the defects log, and to track which team need to work, like a requirement analysis, gathering, design, development, testing, at which that bug is happen, and gather the data related to that, and propose the actionable improvement based on the log, and log for categorize the purpose and concrete the change for the next project, and mandate the requirement, and to do the prioritize of bugs, to do the short and validate the bugs and work on that bug accordingly, and to assign the teams to work on that bugs, and make sure that bug will be solved in the next UAT meeting, and to design the plan and to risk techniques to avoid such risks. So these are the last slides. So the key takeaway and the action plan for the business analyst from this video: the BA is more than the not the taker. The BA is more than the note taker. They are the UAT enable, and they will understand how the functionality will work, and pre-UAT is crucial. So invest time in clear requirement and good test cases preparation, and to design the test cases, and to 360-degree how the plan, how to do the UAT testing, and what are the prerequisites required for the to perform the UAT testing. And during the UAT act as a facilitator, not a gatekeeper. So if there any challenges faced by the UAT tester, so help them how to do do, how the process will work, what they need to complete, and always conduct the post-mortem. It always only a way to truly learn and improve the the processes or improve the performance. And then action plan. So do the what are the three top things we need to do, and we difficult and over the next project and improve the UAT. To work on the improve the requirement granularity, hold the pre-UAT user walk through. Before start the UAT, user will understand how the process will work, and in that UAT testing, what they consider the in-scope functionality, what they consider the out-scope functionality, to understand the snapshot of that the UAT testings, and implement and more reduce the defect log tracking process and help them how they can tackle that risk, and accordingly business analysts will work. So that is the end of these very important slides, the BA role in UAT and how the BA will involvement in the UAT testing. So if you like my video and my efforts, please do like and subscribe my channel, so that motivate me to create more videos for you guys. So if you interested and if you looking for your role in the IT industry as a business analyst or the quality analyst or the quant analyst, please like and subscribe my channel, so I am creating more videos in that area. So once again, thank you so much guys for attending this video.